The state agents are not very honest with them either.
It'll take place from 6:01. Anyone from the public? Oh, can't hear me? We are in our open budget hearing, so if anyone.
Joe went to go check it.
Now we can? Okay, great. I'm gonna use my teacher voice. At this time, we have our open budget hearing, so if anyone from the public wishes to speak out regarding the budget, now is the time to do so. Okay, so we will.
Okay, so let me do this. Can you test your microphone again?
Hello, hello.
Does the microphone at the other seat there work?
Say again?
Everybody can hear me. Sorry.
Yeah, that works.
Scoot.
I can move now.
No, I don't think
There we go.
I get the little short mic.
Since we're just sitting here, I'll go ahead and take this back to Dave.
we get August.
Oh. Okay, may I have a motion to close the budget hearing?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we will move to approval of the agenda for August 12th, 2019. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve the agenda.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Once again, good evening. We have the opportunity to do a special recognition for the KSHSAA Performing Arts School of Excellence Award. And here to present the award, we have Bill Faflick, Executive Director, and Craig Monteifel, Assistant Executive Director of Fine Arts and Spirit.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Dr. Lewis, for allowing us a few brief minutes today to announce some very exciting news for your district. In 2018, the CASHA created the Kansas State High School Activities Association Performing Arts School of Excellence Award, which is modeled from the NFHS National Award. The award is a way to celebrate the performing arts through tremendous work of our school districts, high schools, performing arts departments, directors, coaches, sponsors, parents, and of course, our wonderful students. This past May, the CASHA reached out to the Kansas Music Educators Association, KMEA, the Kansas Speech Communication Association, KSCA, and the Kansas Thespians. 2 members of leadership from each association, plus Mr. Faflick and myself, met in July and discussed 27 high schools from the state of Kansas that received high scores in the activities of debate, speech, drama, music, and theater from the 2018-19 school year. After a great day of discussions and deliberations, the committee chose 7 finalists and 10 commended high schools from our 354 member schools. The CASHA staff then discussed the 7 finalists and chose the winning school. We are extremely excited that the 2019-20 CASHA Performing Arts School of Excellence Award winner is Lawrence Free State High School. This past Thursday, Cheryl Gleason and Fran Martin from our staff made the announcement to your staff from Lawrence Free State High School at your back-to-school in-service. Following this announcement, our school sent a press release and a social media blast congratulating all 17 schools. Each of these 17 will receive a nice CASHA certificate, and then Lawrence Free State High School will receive a CASHA plaque on October 18th to commemorate this award. It takes a very supportive Board of Education, a superintendent, and a community to actively promote the support all of the performing arts. Congratulations, Mr. Faflick.
President Johnson, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Lewis, it is truly a pleasure to be here and to commend this incredible staff for the work that they do under the leadership of Principal Graber and the administrative team at Free State for an award that recognizes excellence in both breadth and depth, because the quality of experience for the Lawrence Free State students is unmatched compared to their rivals. And we are so proud to be part of a school community that we join this evening to support their accomplishment, to thank the Board of Education for their support by funding, by promoting, by attending the events that are part of a healthy interscholastic activity program. Our students on the stages, in our theaters, are fabulous, that are performing each and every day. They go on to great things, and they are better because of their opportunity that you provide through activity participation. Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to join you in celebrating Lawrence Free State and this very significant accomplishment. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you so much. Congratulations and thank you. Thank you so much.
Enjoyed your speech this morning.
Congratulations. 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 Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we have the report of the board president, me. I don't really. I had the opportunity to speak at the new teacher breakfast and welcome our new educators and new staff for Lawrence Public Schools, and just the energy that you felt there, it was just wonderful. even though we had like torrential downpour. But everyone was still excited. I heard some great things about the new teachers, how engaged they were throughout their orientation. And as you know, we had the convocation kickoff, I wish. Yeah, I had a couple of errors there, but it was fantastic. I know there's something going out in the Twitter world of what to name our superintendent, who's also like was on the 1 and 2s DJing. So I nominate DJ Superfly, like super. So hopefully they'll buy into that one. I wanted to also say that the Douglas County Democrats invite everyone out to conversations with AMA, our Kansas State Board of Education representative, on August 27th at 776 US 40 Lawrence.
Kanawha Township. It's in Kanawha Township.
Yes, that's how you pronounce that. Say it one more time, please.
I'm not sure I'm saying it right. Kanawha, thank you.
Yes, and 6 o'clock or 7? I got to double check that. I had it in my notes, but it disappeared. And I think that's about it, but it was just, it was an awesome time. My other report is, again, I think Dr. Lewis said it at convocation, just hearing the enthusiasm and the energy that returning staff and new staff have regarding this school year. I can't wait to see what this school year holds. It's going to be amazing. So that's all I have. And now we have the report of the superintendent, DJ Superfly.
Thank you. It truly was exciting to have the opportunity. This is a short mic, so I want to make sure everyone can hear me. Now, okay. It was really exciting to have an opportunity to welcome our close to 1,800 staff back this year at our convocation this morning. And thank you definitely to those board members that were able to attend, and Melissa, for sharing your personal story. We had students involved. Our Free State Band was involved, and we had some student hosts. John Luke, who did a phenomenal job, and then we had some reporters that were in the audience, Bryce Smith and Bailey Cole Burton. So thank you to those individuals. Patrick Kelly was also a host, as well as Brittany Harrell. Yeah, not Harrell. Brittany Harrell. They all did an amazing job. But it was just a great environment, and I can't tell you the number of emails that I've received from staff members just talking about it's a great feel. It's a great start to a school year, and so I'm super excited to really get this year going. We have had our teachers involved. I had the opportunity to stop by one of the PD sessions, a couple of the PD sessions today. They've been in either building PD or district professional learning since last Thursday, so we'll be ready for our students when they return. Our kindergarten through 6th grade students arrive on Wednesday, and our middle schools will join us on Thursday. I also enjoyed visiting with bus drivers and monitors on last week. They had some amazing food there as well, catered by who? Jax? Julie, who was the caterer? Oh, so good. Mad Jax? No? Mad Jax? No? Okay, I'll let you know.
Set them up, Jax.
Set them up. I had the Jack right. Set them up, Jacks. Not Mad Jacks, but set them up, Jacks. But it was just a great environment, a great time to spend with our bus drivers. And what I shared with some of them as I was talking to them is that really understand the power that you have. Sometimes, for the most part, you're the first adult interaction that many of our scholars may face. And so you have the opportunity and the power to either make or break their day. So that was exciting to spend some time with them. And as we launch off into our first year of our strategic plan, the district also revealed a fresh new logo today. We have a fresh new look. The new logo represents our students who are bright, and I will show that to you if you look on your screens. Just as I told the crowd this morning, everyone say goodbye to the old logo.
Goodbye.
And there we go. We are. Yeah, like a little light bulb there. The new logo represents our students who are bright, creative, and full of ideas and how they will change the world. It represents the aha moments of our students, that our students have when our teachers guide them through gaining knowledge and learning new skills. Our students shine. The mortarboard at the top there represents our mission. Lawrence USD 497 is a learning community committed to ensuring educational equity and excellence so that students of all races and backgrounds achieve at high levels and graduate prepared for success in college, careers, and in life in a diverse and rapidly changing world. So we're super excited to launch our new logo. If you were not there this morning, we have buttons with the new logo on it, as well as our strategic plan. And I often would tell people how many districts can boast that their strategic plan fits in their pocket. And so it really just outlines those few things that we want to do and do well. And as I shared with the crowd, we will not get distracted. We will stay the course as we continue to improve outcomes for our scholars. As I mentioned this morning, our continued partnership with the Lawrence Education Association, the IBB negotiations process went well for us this year, and I thank all the members of the combined teams, both LEA and the district. It was a new process, and I tell people, I said, this group that was involved in it this year did the brunt of the work, and so we're hopeful that it gets not easier, but more, I guess, effective, I would say, as the years to come. And I thank all the members on both sides. I mean, like I said, it was mutually beneficial both ways, and with the ultimate goal of us serving our students and ensuring that we make a positive work climate for all of our staff and teachers. The combined teams will begin to meet again in September. We're not going to wait. We're going to start meeting again in September to discuss next year's master agreement. We are also continuing to work with the Budget and Program Evaluation Committee on finding ways to be more efficient so that we can direct those resources to our priorities, including teacher salaries and class sizes. Our employee benefits open enrollment ends at 5 o'clock tomorrow. I need to make a note to go see someone tomorrow. So we encourage any staff, including me, who are waiting until the last minute, like I am, to please review their benefits and make any changes for the upcoming year. We appreciated getting to talk to our school families this weekend at the Community Safety Fair. Safe and supportive schools is one of our 5 areas that's in our strategic plan, and that it definitely is indeed a top priority for us. And then lastly, we are pleased to have Head Start join us at Kennedy. This is a great community partnership for us and an opportunity to serve more preschoolers in our community. That's all I have.
At this time, we have board patron commentary. Are there any more patron commentary, Julie? Just the one? Okay. At this time, we'll have Jeff Plinsky come up. While he comes up, I'm going to read the audience participation. The USD 497 Board of Education welcomes patron comments and thanks you for the time for taking the time to talk to us about our policies and procedures. We set aside this time during our regular meetings to hear from the public. This is your time to share your opinions. However, complaints about specific staff or students will be heard by the board in executive session in order to protect the privacy of individuals to be discussed. While you're not required to share your contact information, we know where you live. We ask for that information so district staff or the board can follow up with any specific concerns you may have. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Plinsky. I am the Vice President of the Lawrence Education Association and one of the lead negotiators in this year's process. I was concerned this weekend by a headline in an article that appeared in the Lawrence Journal World. And so on behalf of LEA, I wanted to say a few things about it. And I would invite the board, once you have heard the negotiations presentation this evening, to join us in saying that perhaps this was an incomplete article, and I think I'm being kind when I say that. The premise of the article was that y'all are going to need to make about $500,000 in cuts, and that was because of teacher salaries. And what was not included in the article, and the thing that I'd like to make clear, is that it is just not that simple. There are 4.3 million new dollars coming to this district from the state. We can divide those dollars into three sort of big key areas. And of the $4.3 million, 1.2 and some change will go to staff salary or certified staff salary increases this year, assuming that we all say yes to the thing that's been tentatively agreed to. 1.2 million out of 4.3, so less than a third. I would point out that there's also $1.1 million in increased fringe benefits cost, a little less than 10%. And if the article had said we needed to make cuts because we had a 10% increase in healthcare costs, it would have been an equally incomplete but far less divisive headline. Furthermore, the largest single chunk of money was the $1.8 million that the team set aside to help the district reduce and hopefully eliminate its deficit spending. And so I think a far more accurate headline would be that we're going to need to make some cuts because of reductions in deficit spending, healthcare costs, and negotiations. I would invite you to join us in publicly claiming or publicly exclaiming that this is a far more complex issue than that article let on, and that you, I would hope that you don't agree that the entire onus of that $500,000 is on teacher salaries. And so with that, I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. This time we'll have commentary from the board.
We do musical chairs. So anyway, thank you for your commentary, Jeff. And I would say that as a member of the negotiations team this year and for the past 4 years, this process was a much better process than we've had before. We talked about so many things. We spent about 40+ hours together in meetings, going over pretty much every detail that we could of really a lot of our budget, and it was actually really helpful to get the different perspectives. I was also not pleased with the way the article was presented. I did not think that it was representative of the hard work that we did and the agreement that we'd come to and the sort of concessions that both sides made to get there. So that's my, I guess, exclamation of support. Certainly, it's not all on teacher salaries, but that does make up a large part of our budget. So I, at the same time, understand a little bit why it was maybe presented that way. But I do believe that at the end of the day, we have a lot of really good momentum going forward. This is a good agreement. It ties us as a district to making teacher salaries a priority, which I think is a really beneficial thing for us to be thinking about going into next year. And so that's my commentary on that. So thank you. Are we switching?
I just want to make sure everybody at home can hear us, because I know there are folks watching that this particular issue matters. So I appreciate, Jeff, that you brought this particular issue to the board. We heard it this morning at convocations as well, loud and clear. One thing that I've learned, unlike Jessica, this is my first year doing negotiations, and one thing that I have learned from the teachers at the table and the educators at the table is that how you frame things is incredibly important, and that it has, the process of going through IBB as a negotiation model has taught me a lot about choosing my words incredibly carefully and the power that they carry in terms of perception. So I can appreciate why this particular headline was not received well, and certainly support you and the LEA and working together to create language and a dialogue and a narrative that demonstrates the collaboration that we all benefited from over the last couple months together. So I appreciate the time I spent with you all. I learned a ton, and I will be working to choose my words in a way that best represents the appreciation we have for teachers on this board.
Okay. This wasn't in my list of notes, but I just think it would be important to offer my thanks as a board member to both all of the staff that serve on the negotiations team, and also to the board members, especially this year with this new model. I know that it has been an immense time commitment. I think all for the better of our district, and I know that it has been a big load for our board members to carry on behalf of the rest of us. So I just want to say thank you for the great work that you did. Wanted to just share a couple things. I have been at several events over the last few weeks since our last board meeting, one of which was the Chamber Luncheon welcoming our new city manager, Craig Owens. I was very pleased to hear his discussion about the positive relationship he had with the school district in his former position in Clayton, Missouri, and I was encouraged that that is the approach that he seems to be coming into this position with, and I think that's all for the benefit of the working relationship between the school district and the city. That same evening, there was a student presentation by a group of students at from Deerfield Elementary who've been doing a project-based learning extended project over the summer about their vision for the corner of Massachusetts across from the courthouse where the student housing project was denied not too long ago by the City Commission. I just want to publicly say how proud I am of all of those students and of their teacher who has worked with them, and also of the community partners that stepped up to work with them. It was really, really cool, really cool. The Facilities Committee has met within the last week, and we are being kept well apprised of new developments as we're moving to get all of our facilities that have been under construction ready for the school year. Many thanks go to our facilities and operations staff because they are working overtime and then some to make sure that our buildings are as ready as they are able to be. GR and I had an opportunity to do a walkthrough of the project at Free State High School on the 5th, and it's amazing. I'm so excited. I'm really excited for students to get in and get a chance to see it. It's really a structural transformation that will be a cultural transformation within that building. Last Thursday evening, I attended the KASB Regional Roundtable for our region. We're considered Region 1 in the Kansas Association of School Boards, the way they divide up the state. And we had a really great conversation around school safety and security, around the Kansas redesign process, and other local issues that we all had a chance to sit with board members and superintendents from other districts and learn from each other. So that was a really nice opportunity. And then I just wanted to share with the board that this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I'm going to be, and Sunday actually, I'm going to be attending the National School Board Association's Summer Leadership Institute in Chicago, which is a training event that takes place for state association presidents and executive leadership teams from state associations to help us develop better leadership and management skills for the state association level. So I'll share back if there's good things to learn from there. I'll share back with the board the next time we meet. So thanks.
Anyone else? And Shannon, I read your article in the KASB, and I thought it was well written. So.
Thank you. Thank you. It's one of the fun things, but also slightly stressful, anxiety-provoking things you get to do. I write a column every month for the State School Board Association's magazine that goes out. In fact, my next one is due this Thursday, so I gotta get to work.
And again, and I want to express my thanks to the negotiations team, both boards and LEA and the teachers as well. We actually, a couple of us happened to sit in the last one or two, the second to last meeting, and we know the work, the hard work and dedication that goes into there. And, you know, Plinsky, I think you're a rock star, so. Anyone else? Board? Okay. So can I get, this time we're going to approve the consent agenda. Consent agenda agenda items are those that are considered routine and are adopted by one motion unless any board member or the superintendent requests that an item be removed. The item or items removed are voted on separately. Motion.
Madam President, I have a
Oh, yes, thank you.
request after we recognize the retirements.
Yes, thank you, Jessica. You said it too. You gotta power it on.
I need IT
to turn on a mic. Oh, here it comes.
We got it?
I mean, the green light is on. I did. I think I turned it off.
So I added up the years and the 75 years worth of service, so I'll make sure everybody can hear it. Also, this is my first time recognizing retirees, so, as a vice president. So I'd like to thank the following employees for their service to the district. Patricia Crane served in the food service arena for 20 years. My grandmother did the same in Sioux City, Iowa, so I appreciate the work you did. Cheryl Dunham was at Quail Run as a paraeducator for 21 years. Thank you for your service. And Tandy Hughes worked in maintenance for 35 years. We appreciate your service, and the board thanks you for the contributions to our students.
At this time,
Okay, I would like to request, and I hate to do this at the last minute, but I didn't get a chance to read this until just this afternoon. I want to pull item 3.7 for just a very quick question and brief discussion. It's the item on the schedule of fees.
hey, this is my first time. So we just remove it and then just, okay. So I move the board, oh. Someone else make a motion? Can we remove that?
I'll make the motion. I move that the board approve the items listed on the consent agenda with the exception of item 3.7, 2019-2020 schedule of fees.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jones? Yes. Beeson? Yes. Fincher? Yes. Gordon Ross? Yes. Ingram?
Yes.
Kimball?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. At this time, we'll have a report of student enrollment update from, it has been a long day, from Kathy Johnson, Executive Director of Finance.
Where is this?
Oh, and Samry. And Samry, Director of Human Resources, and David Cunningham, Executive Director of Human Resources and Legal Counsel.
Oh, he's rated. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. You're wonderful. Well, good evening and welcome to the new school year. It's an exciting start this morning. Well, we would like to share just briefly with you what our enrollment numbers look like right now. I'd like to point out the word preliminary because it is very, very fluid right now. If actually I pulled these numbers in PowerSchool on Saturday evening, and so they are already changing as of today. So please know that these are really preliminary numbers. So the first thing I'd like for you to look at is the elementary preliminary numbers. As you can see, I think we're in pretty good shape here. We projected 229 sections, and so 229 sections, and we have 227 currently right now. So as you can see, then we have 2 FTE left that we can work with. If you look at Deerfield and Sunflower, those are highlighted red, those additional sections there in first grade. We added those sections as of August 2nd. Those were past their threshold, and we had the principals there confirm the families were returning. So we were very confident about that. So we went ahead and added those 2 sections. That was exciting. We do have some green that we are watching. We're actually watching all of our sections. Those are 3 that are, that we consider really close to threshold, 3 to 4 students that would meet their threshold. So again, 227 current sections. We projected 229. So feeling really good. If you look at our middle school preliminary enrollment there, so these are projected RSP numbers that they did mid-year last year. And you can see on the right-hand side their current enrollment in Power School, pretty close. I've contacted all of the building principals and also looked in Power School to look at average class size. So average class size is below 30. There are a few classes in core. I want to talk about core there. So average class sizes in core sections are below 30. Southwest and West have a few over 30 core sections, and right now they're feeling confident that they can balance that out with their counselors right now, and that's what they're working on. So middle school right now, they feel pretty good about where their numbers are and their numbers in their class sections. And lastly, we have high school preliminary enrollment, pretty close to RSP numbers again. I also visited with both high school principals, and they're very happy where their class sections are at right now with their enrollment numbers. Again, just want to repeat that it's very fluid. They will fluctuate, and it's changing all the time. So, but that's where we are as of Saturday. So, questions? We also have 3 Title A2 FTE, so we have 5 FTE that we can kind of work with.
Okay.
In a better place than last year, so.
We know these are critical issues, and we are watching our class sizes, so we just wanted to make sure the board and the public was up to date just as of today. Like as Sammy indicated, they will change. We're getting students still enrolling today, but we know we've heard from patrons around class sizes. We know Meet the Teacher Night is tonight at many of our buildings. So we just wanted to make sure the board and public just got a snapshot of where we are with our numbers as of today.
So if you look at, elementary, we were projected at 4,857, and we're at 4,758. So RSP was total elementary, that was that. It looks like kinder is down about 80 right now, but we have kinders right now that we're enrolling today that we're placing. But when I look at RSP numbers and I break it down per grade level, Kathy and I were just talking, it looks like that kinder is a little bit lower than we would like to see, but we're enrolling, so we're
Where
excited.
most of the enrollment is coming from, kindergarten?
Usually, typically, kinder late enrollments. Because, they have to provide all the great documents as first time in school, in a public school, so it takes a while for families to get that information in. They're busy. Life is busy. I have 2 more, because remember, we have 227 sections right now. We projected 229.
So there is
Absolutely.
When will families know that?
I think what we'll do is we'll probably let enrollment settle a little bit and see, because there's still even some shifting after the first couple of days of school. And as soon as we see that there's an area of need, then we'll kind of make a collaborative decision as to pretty quickly. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Sammy.
Emery?
Well, now we have Kathy Johnson, Executive Director of Finance, with a budget report and approval.
Good evening, Kathy Johnson, Executive Director of Finance. So tonight, we have the overall budget that you're approving in the mill levies and kind of those big numbers. The line item details are continuing to evolve as salary packages settle, then contracts will kind of get adjusted, and then we'll kind of revamp the detailed line items within those big totals to make sure we're on target with where we need to meet. So your motion tonight is that, but it does also include a few things that we need to talk about as far as just addressing the overall, what we had available to us, and then kind of where everything's settled, and that we do need some additional reductions to kind of make all of that balance. So just as a reminder, just the staffing ratio is part of what Sammy talked about when we did the staffing ratios. We did a lot of that as budget neutral as possible as far as that, and some support structure. So the first two line items were things that we got the go ahead to move forward with through different board meetings, but the June 24th was kind of that final consensus that yes, that's kind of where we're going to be. Since that time, though, several things have occurred. So we've had the hire of a part-time finance coordinator, and then savings that came from the administrative staffing pool as a result of some resignations, lots of transfers of staff that have come and gone. And so that pool of dollars, there was some savings there that helped offset that coordinator, and then created in the subtotal here additional savings beyond additions that we had made up to that point. And then looking at all of this as a whole, because we have certified, we also then have classified and administration, and as you'll see in the board enclosure that Dave will share with you, the recommendation that the classified pool and the administrative pool have kind of that same percentage impact to them as the certified pool, and then building that in with the deficit, looking at that all holistically, and then comparing it to what we had as dollars available. The net effect of all of that recreates just about a $368,000 shortfall to those new dollars that we're projecting we will get based on the budget formulas. So as a result, if we move ahead with that in the salary packages that you'll have as an approval item later, this would be the proposal to try to address that shortfall. And so part of it is a 2.0 of middle school student interventionists. That was new last year. Instead of those continuing at our middle schools, those two people, I guess, 4 buildings impacted, a half at each middle school, will be placed in vacant learning coach positions. So nobody is losing a position, but those particular FTE will become learning coaches, and the reduction of those 2 FTE is the 111. We'd be looking at about a 5% reduction in our building budgets, looking at professional development, travel, and substitutes, trying to reduce overtime, that cost containment of some things that we've got as far as substitutes and overtime. And then where possible, and this will kind of be an ongoing throughout the year, just like the overtime, trying to absorb those dollars and cost contain those dollars as a reduction. Knowing that we may not be able to make it, we'll talk a little bit more about what we can and can't do with capital outlay as we evolve into that capital improvement plan that you'll approve later in the year, because that will all kind of tie together as well. But knowing or recognizing that all of that kind of has to come together as that perfect end, that we will also be looking throughout the year as vacancies become open to not automatically fill things, to really evaluate the need of those positions and where they are and what the impact is, and then the superintendent will sign off on yes, posted, or those kinds of things, as well as really looking at our out-of-state travel and other professional development that might be something that could wait or not happen this year as a result of just knowing we need to cost contain, and the superintendent would sign off on those kinds of things. So that's kind of just the holistic look at it, because just as Jeff indicated earlier, it's really a big picture kind of thing, and it's the pluses and the minuses in the end, they all impact it. And so we're just looking at what we had as new dollars and what we've ended up with as kind of what we need to spend, and as a result of that, slightly short, and so we're just looking at that's what would be included in the motion as you approve those. Unless there's questions.
Melissa, I have a couple questions. Okay, just wanted to verify a couple things. One, the middle school interventionists, we're putting them in learning coach positions, but will they still be functioning as interventionists, or are they going to be, are we doing away with that?
I'll let Anna address
Okay.
that, because I think they found other ways to address those things.
Okay,
Yeah, so no, they will be functioning as learning coaches.
We still will leverage, one of them in particular has a extensive background in restorative practices, and that can be leveraged in a learning coach role or whatever role he's serving in. We had already talked about having some flexibility in his schedule to support the schools that we have trained in that. We've trained Liberty Memorial Central today, their entire staff, and he's actually going to be the learning coach there, so the natural components will be there. We also have partnered with KipCore, who's providing some training around restorative practices, and so we're using some money from Title Grant, which is not general funds, to fill in the gaps from losing those positions. So we'll be able to contract with individuals who specialize in those areas of interventionists. The principals are looking at the students and what type of supports they were receiving last year systemically, and then we're going to sit down and talk about what are our partnerships and where we can contract with others to support those needs.
Okay, thanks. Couple more. Okay, and then my next question is for Kathy. How comfortable are you now that the deficit spending, the final number is 1.8 million? Are we kind of through our closing of the books for last fiscal year to be pretty comfortable with
As far as where we
that?
ended with the most recent year, close. I think things change all the time, and so going into next year, we'll just have to really monitor, you know. I think that anything changes from the state or people don't stay within budgets, those kinds of things are going to all impact what could be the result of additional deficit or, so those are ongoing things, and as we see things happen, we'll try to keep you apprised of what those impacts are as we evaluate things more closely. And fluid, just like everything else.
Sure. I know for some time we were thinking that the deficit for this past fiscal year would have been somewhere around 1.5, and it really, then you kind of said it was going to come in a little. I was just trying to get at, is 1.8 kind of where we think we were for this past year, or? Okay.
It is, and that is inclusive of some of the lost revenue from special education.
Okay.
That was a surprise right in June.
Okay.
Tax that just a little bit.
Okay.
Overspending that we need to stay.
Sure. And then in terms of the capital outlay, I know that we have taken advantage of some of that, some of the additional flexibility that was granted to us over time. Is that more in terms of software and materials, or are we also talking about salary in that
Minimize
66,000?
salary, and the reason for that is cash flow. There's no really new revenues in your capital outlay fund because we don't get any new tax money until December. So your January balance has to get you through that time frame. And if you have a roof go out or something like that, and you also have an ongoing commitment of salary on a monthly basis, you can get yourself in an upside down pickle.
Okay.
So we're really watching that closely. We're going to try to adjust where we can adjust for it, but that's a little bit of the challenge, is that cash flow piece. So as we evaluate the new capital improvement plan and really look at that and all of our leases, so we've got a significant amount of our capital outlay on equipment leases with Apple and with Dell, and then we also have with some of
The
our
turf.
the new building at 7-Eleven. So there's some of those that are just very specific commitments, and we have to make sure we can make that payment when those happen.
Okay.
And so we'll share more of that as we kind of build that into the capital improvement plan and show you a little more of that cash flow concern, where it is a concern, but where we can adjust for, or maybe a software piece's timing is just right, in which it falls where the tax money all of a sudden populates in January and it's due in February, then maybe there's something we can do there. So we'll look at that in a different lens this year and see what we can do to try to help with using it where we can, but also making sure that we don't get ourselves in a pickle for something that might come up that Tony has to address if we have leaks or something that we don't know about.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? So we need a motion. May I have a motion?
I move the Board of Education approve the 2019-2020 budget and mill levy for USD 497 as noted on the State of Kansas Budget Form Code 99 and the outlined budget changes necessary to meet the committed funding for 2019-2020 salary packages of all employee groups and continued funding of current ongoing expenditures.
Yes.
Kimball,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Yes. And we have the David Cunningham, Executive Director of Human Resources and Legal Counsel.
Good evening. So Anna and Lori are going to visit with you a little bit about the tentative agreement that was reached in terms of some of the language items, and then I'll finish up with some of the numbers that are involved in that tentative agreement, because it also then includes classified and administrative staff compensation packages.
So as of 10 a.m. this morning, we can report that we had the number of votes to ratify the tentative agreement that we had. I will note that it was a harder sell this year, and I don't think that surprises anyone. And so, yeah. What else?
Okay. I will share some of more specifics about what we did tentatively or agreed upon, but I want to echo what board members and Mr. Plinsky and others have said about the IBB process. It really, I've been a part of negotiations in some form probably the last 4 years, and this by far has been the most positive year. And we did really function as one team, and we also built relationships that we had not built previously. And actually, some of them will not admit it, but they are looking forward to us starting to meet again in September. They're missing their weekly time with each other, right, Jeff? So we, there were some things that did come up that we all agreed that we couldn't take care of before the end of the, to do it timely, to get salaries and things wrapped up before the teachers and staff return. And so we agreed that we would take them on immediately once school got settled. So we're pretty excited about talking about those things and looking at and working in tandem with the budget committee as we think about being more intentional and thoughtful about where we can find efficiencies and grow and learn and prioritizing to go with our strategic plan. So I think the team is pretty excited. I even think Jessica wants to stay, even though she'll be leaving. But the articles that we did come to some tentative agreement, one was Article 2, variance to the master agreement, and this was by far our favorite topic. We did come to an agreement about how to have a process for conducting a vote for anything that would cause a variance to the master agreement. And this can also be used in any process where you may be doing a vote or a poll, but anytime there's a variance to the master agreement, it outlines the steps that need to be taken. And this was something that was birthed out of the process from redesign, and it helped us to see that collectively it provided a way for everyone to understand what was being voted on. So that was one. Article 7, contract for professional employees. This is affectionately known as the Devon Project. We allocated money for teachers who may be leaving our district to notify us early. The first 10 who notify by October 1st, like if you know your spouse is leaving or you're leaving, you'll get compensation of $500, and then the next 10 will be $250. This was give us an opportunity to identify openings and hire early in any area. I'm skipping over all the ones that have to do with money. Because David's going to talk about that. The next one was a payroll date. We heard feedback from our new staff that waiting until September to get a full paycheck can create a burden on families and individuals. So we agreed to spread out the salary over 13 months. What's that? Oh, and Dave just shared with me that 72 of our 111 new hires opted to utilize this. So this is a popular one that it'll help us with our new staff. The Article 16 duty day, there were two components in that. The first one had to do with back to school night. We carved out time to compensate teachers to be here for back to school night. Secondary and elementary vary in the language, but we were able to provide comp time for teachers to ensure that everyone will be able to participate in back to school nights or information nights at the beginning of the year. And then Article 19, which was evaluation, and Article 21, which is representation, and Article 22, the grievance procedure, we just clarified some language and cleaned up some language in all of those. So those are all the things we did outside of money during this process.
Okay, I've had some time to think now. I would like to echo some of the things that Anna said. We got a round of applause from the new employees when we talked about the 13-month option. And just to illustrate that, it really helps those new employees focus on our students rather than trying to cover shifts, waitressing or waiting tables in order to be able to make the rent. And so it's made things a lot more welcoming for somebody coming into our community. And they start August 1st. And so to go 6 to 7 weeks without any pay is difficult. And so we appreciate the opportunity for our new employees to be welcomed like they should to our district. There has been feedback about the process. Those people who have come to watch the process overwhelmingly have said that they really appreciate the tone that it's taken. And I don't want us to whitewash and make it sound like we just really got along and sang Kumbaya every night, because there were still tense moments. But part of that was coming to an understanding. Anytime you form a relationship and you build those deeper bonds, there's going to be those times when you clash. And so, but we, through the facilitator and just through the decency of the people at the table, worked our way through that. And I think it was a great model for how those conversations can happen elsewhere in the district. So we plan on showing back up at the table in August, September. We already talked about maybe the meetings won't be 4 hours long. I think just kind of, like getting together for a short period of time will be enough of that reconnection that we can, we don't need the 4 hours. But thank you to the board members and the staff who have been on the district committee. That's probably not how anyone wants to spend their summer in 4-hour chunks, but it was productive, and we look forward to doing it again.
Okay, they're going to abandon me, I guess. So with respect to compensation, on Article 8, salary, what we will ask you to do is ratify a compensation package that will place $218 on cell. So in our salary matrix, every cell will get $218. We will also fund vertical step and horizontal movement for education for this year. Another component of vertical movement is last year, everything went on base. So this year, in 6 months, so it will begin in March, we will restore that step, and that will be, of course, half the cost of what it would take to move them. So that's a fairly significant contribution to getting people back on track for vertical movement. And then finally, with respect to placement on the salary schedule, we had a transition matrix to move us from a 25-cell schedule to a 15-cell schedule. And so when you create an arbitrary placement device, then it's going to create some inequities. And so we are now beginning a process of trying to fix that. We've only allocated about $80,000, including employer costs, to do that. So it may be only one step, and it may be only for 1 month. We have to analyze all 130 or so people that are affected by that to determine what is the actual cost, so we can figure out what will work. So there are 3 components to the vertical movement. We'll do educational, as we do every year, and then add to the base. The board, through consensus, had authorized us to move forward on Fringe, so we've been doing open enrollment. Dr. Lewis mentioned that, and I have time tomorrow if you'd like to stop by. So Fringe, we're in good shape there. We did make some changes to Article 10 on additional assignments, added some stipends for social workers, middle school drama, high school debate, and 7th grade boys and girls basketball. And that one was twofold. We think that's going to be pretty much revenue neutral as you approved the addition of those particular programs back into the middle schools. But we also need to look at the value in the stipend list was $765, which was for intramurals. This will be a full-blown schedule, so those numbers had to be adjusted upwards, but still anticipate that would be a cost neutral. And then all city high school jazz, again, kind of just putting it formally in the agreement. It's been out there anyway. So with that, as we look at the actual board enclosure, we'll show you the compensation packages for each of the groups. You will see that certified, we've broken this down between the dollars that are going to the pool, and I want to emphasize that those are percentages based on the pool of money allocated to these employee groups. It doesn't mean that a person's going to get 2.417%. They might get less. In fact, if you're maxed out on the salary schedule and you didn't do any educational movement across, you're going to get $218. It's going to be less than 2%. Others will be more than 2% or 2.4% if they had education and they're moving down the schedule. So it's going to the pool of money. Then you'll see the employer costs, the fringe. The 1.1 that was referenced in some earlier comments has now been broken out into the components applying to each of the employee groups. And you will see in total that when you account for those costs, teachers a little over 1.9 million, classified 868, and administration almost 192. So the motion for your consideration tonight is to do two things. One, approve the tentative agreement reached by the teams during the negotiations this year, and then secondly, to approve these compensation packages in the total dollar amounts that we've presented to you. Questions?
Any questions? Sure.
I move the Board of Education ratify the tentative agreement with LEA and approve compensation packages prorated by FTE for certified, classified, and administrative staff in the amount of $1,973,914 for certified, $868,055 for classified, and $191,886 for administrative staff. Yes.
Fincher? Yes. Gordon Ross? Yes. Ingram?
Yes.
Kimball?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jones? Yes. Motion passes 7-0.
Ask board members to refresh.
Board members, have you refreshed your board docs page so that the schedule of fees will show up in new business? Thumbs up. Okay.
Working on it. Yes.
So at this time, can we have Kathy, well, sorry, yeah, that is Kathy, right? Kathy Johnson, Executive Director of Finance.
And I have a pretty, what I hope is a pretty straightforward question, but in reviewing the schedule of enrollment fees, I really I wanted to understand why we have different parking fines for our two high schools.
Currently what they're currently charging, and that's what I asked, and it's on there because they had not shared that with you before. So if there is some request to change that, I just shared what they were already doing as a practice.
Okay.
And if you choose to change that or be different, then I was not aware of what they were, and I wanted to make sure that we were at least getting permission to charge what they were charging, and if we wanted to direct them differently, that discussion was absolutely open for conversation. That's just what I learned they were
Okay.
doing.
And so we charge fines for students who park in the parking lots and when they have not bought the parking permit. Is that the?
That's my understanding, where they park where the teachers are supposed to park. Or there's a variety of reasons, is my understanding. You can pull that part off the schedule, and I can certainly get more information back if that's something that you'd like, a little more consistency or information about. I just, like I said, I learned, they're kind of doing it, it was all over, so I thought it was appropriate to bring it for discussion and what you might want to do with it.
So if other board members think it's too in the weeds, but I'm a little uncomfortable with that difference between the high schools, unless there's some justification based on the amount of parking. Like, I could see that there may be some reason, but I really don't like approving it with a difference like that.
Yeah, because I.
You could approve the schedule without the parking, and we'll bring the parking back for further.
All right, I'm just looking to see if there's anybody in the back going, please don't do this to, no, all right, okay. Well, then, I would like to make a motion that we approve the schedule of enrollment fees with the amendment that we are going to take out the parking fine piece from this schedule that we are approving and have that brought back to the board for approval at a later date with some additional information and discussion.
Beeson? Fincher? Gordon Ross? Ingram?
Yes.
Kimball?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Oh.
Johnson?
Thank you for that explanation.
A reason for that.
Okay.
I forgot Kelly.
And I just wanted to announce that there will be no board meeting on August 26th. That was an district board meeting set aside, and our next board meeting will be Monday, September 9th.
Go ahead.
Good. Motion to, oh,
There was,
Can I make one additional announcement?
Oh, yes.
Just for those who are watching, there is a school board candidate forum this Saturday at the Arts Center if you're interested in attending. I believe the forum starts at 10 a.m. And so definitely encourage folks who are interested to please
come out.
attend. Thank you.
to have one announcement. I think we know why, well, some of us may know why Elise forgot Kelly. Is there anything you want to say, Elise?
Congratulations, I know.
That's not what the meeting did not.
Yay.
Awesome, congratulations.
Yes.
Okay. Motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yay. Sorry. Hyped up. I ran that adrenaline from this morning, and I was like,